Once again, welcome to the Health, Fitness and Nutrition workshop today. We are in conversation with Richa Salunkhe. Let me quickly introduce you to Richa. I am pretty sure most people in Columbus already know Richa, but considering the fact that she's a multifaceted person, I want to make sure everybody is aware of the different aspects of her life and personality. Let me talk about her very quickly and then hand it over to Richa to take us through the health and fitness workshop today. She's actually a fitness and nutrition coach. She's also certified in group exercise, personal training, prenatal and postnatal exercise, and is also a nutrition specialist. She's been running a company called FitApp since January 2019. And I'm sure a lot of people in Columbus have already subscribed to that. I think she's already trained almost 100 people. Apart from fitness and training, she's also been running, she was also a project manager at LHP for 8 years between 2008 and 2016. And if that wasn't enough, I think she's also found time to spend time at the Hindu temple as a volunteer. And she's also been learning Bharatanatyam. So I think what she likes most is time management, and she's been bringing her project management skills into her daily life and has been managing her life very, very well. So without further ado, Richa, I'll hand it over to you. Or in fact, before that, Ankit, do you want to spend 30 seconds in setting the ground rules for the workshop?
Sorry. So what we're going to do is today's lead speaker will be Richa. The session moderator will be Kanu, and I'll be the meeting administrator. So you should be able to see me in the list here. So I just want to make sure everyone is aware. This session is being recorded, and you should also be seeing a notification saying we are live on Facebook live as well. So anyone who logs into our account will be able to view this as a live stream. We will record this video and we will post it at the end of the Summerfest. So this will also be posted on our Facebook page at a later date. So everyone who will be joining this meeting, this meeting will be put into mute by default. It's up to you if you want to have your camera on. We like to have the cameras on. It allows for a more interactive session, but it's completely your choice. What we plan to do is Richa will walk through, Richa and Kanu, they'll walk through some slides and they'll have some discussions. At the end, we will open it up for Q&A. So when you would like to do Q&A, just we'll try to see how it goes. But right now, our view is that there's a raise hand button that you should see in your list. I would like you to raise your hands. I'll be the moderator and I'll call you out, and then you can unmute and you can speak. So that way we'll try to see that we are not speaking over each other. But being a first time, we'll also experiment a little bit. Right? So without further ado, please welcome Richa. Richa, so I'll stop sharing and you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for that introduction, IAC. That's great. I'm not that multifaceted as Kanu just pointed out, but it's like I said, it's about managing time and wanting to do things that you like, and we will get into the presentation right away. I'm sharing screen, Ankit, now. Okay. So before we jump right into the presentation, I just want to explain my logo here. So this is the name of my company, FitAmp. All these equipment that you see here, the red and black resistance bands, the barbell, the kettlebell, all of that represent your strength training equipment, and in general represent strength. So the thought that I put into while making this logo was that exercise or health or nutrition should be your strength. It shouldn't bog you down. It shouldn't make you emotional or guilty. It should make you confident, happy, excited for life, and just increase your zest for life. So so that's the thought behind this. And with that thought, one more thing, these arrows here represent that health is an ongoing process. There is never an end to it. You reach a goal, you make a new one, and you crush that, and then you make a new one. So you keep kind of growing when it comes to health. So with that thought, let's get into get into the presentation. Okay. So what are the things I'm going to be talking about today? I'll talk about the general components of health and well-being. What are the parameters that measure health and well-being? And then we'll jump into some concepts of nutrition. I think the bigger topic, and I think the thing that you guys will be mostly looking for in this presentation, is how to make it work. I think some of us already know that exercise is important. We already know what are the formats of exercise that are important, and same with nutrition. We know what is healthy, but how do we make it work? How do we get it in our busy lives? So that we'll focus our discussion around that a little bit, and then we'll take it to questions in the end. So I'm hoping not to have a very long presentation, but more of a longer discussion. So let's get into that. So what are the main components of health and well-being? As you all know, it used to be physical health for the longest time. People were talking about exercise, and then food became an important aspect. But slowly over the last decade or so, I think mental health has come into picture as well, because of our stressful, busy lives. Stress has been pulling us down and impacting our physical health in turn. So that is a very important component of health and well-being as well. So physical health, under which we'll talk about exercise and movement in general, and the nutrition and healthful eating, both that contribute towards physical health. And then we'll also talk a little bit about mental health. I'm not certified or equipped to talk too much in that area, but there's few tips that I have. So moving into physical health, exercise as such, the term kind of scares a few people, and they relate it to rigorous activities. So that's why I'm using the word movement as well. So it's exercise and movement, not generally just going to the gym and doing hardcore workouts. So there's three components to that. There's cardiovascular exercises, there's strength training, and flexibility and endurance. So cardiovascular is generally the kind of exercise that's really good for your heart health. If you are able to maintain a particular heart rate, then it's also great for burning fat. So examples of cardio exercises are cycling, running, walking, swimming, anything that kind of gets your heart rate up and makes you feel like wanting for breath. So strength training, the next component, also very important. That's mostly important for toning, to give you that lean structure, the ripped muscle looking structure. So it's for building lean muscle. You can replace fat with muscle if you're doing strength training. Very important, very neglected aspect of exercise, especially in the Indian women community. It's not so much these days, but in the past, weightlifting and that kind of stuff was just looked at men or models or those kind of people doing it, but it's for all of us. So what are the categories in strength training? Like weightlifting, resistance band, body weight training, any of that comes under the strength training. And the last component is flexibility and endurance, which is the stretching that you do. So yoga and Pilates would fall under that. But this is also a very important aspect of fitness for the longevity of your muscles, because if you're doing just cardio and strength, there's a high chance you're always sore, you're always tight, and you're not feeling flexible enough. And as you age, you will see that lack of flexibility leads to bigger problems, pains in the joint and that kind of stuff. So these are the main components of exercise that you should be touching on for your general good health. So next one is a recommended schedule, a very, very generic by the book kind of a schedule. So cardio format is what you need to do a little more than everything else, like 3 to 5 times a week. So long brisk walks, running, jogging, bike rides, dancing like Zumba, or even dance, like just any Bollywood dance or anything. Basketball, tennis, soccer. The reason I write all of this is because now with the lockdown going on, it's hard to go out to a gym and do something like an indoor bike ride or a Zumba class, but even just your sport activities, high intensity interval trainings, all of these will qualify as cardio formats, and they should, except for HIIT, everything should last about 30 to 45 minutes a session. So you should be in that heart rate, the target heart rate, for that much time. So how do you know your target heart rate? So there's a very quick, simple formula. 220 minus your age is your maximum heart rate. So for a 35-year-old person, it's about 185 beats per minute. All of us have these fancy watches and trackers where you can look into your heart rate. So about 40 to 7, maybe 50 to 75% of that max heart rate would be your target heart rate to burn fat. Anything above that would be like real hardcore cardio. And that, as you progress, as you build stamina, you should try and challenge yourself and get into the higher heart rate zones, to aim for good heart health, good resting heart rate, good VO2 max output, a lot of things. Those parameters are as you go higher up in the stamina. So in the strength training, you want to focus on every muscle group of your body at least once, but 2 to 3 times a week would be awesome. Again, it depends on how much time you're able to carve out for yourself, but what kind of exercises come under it? Your squats, your lunges, your deadlifts for your lower bodies, and glutes exercises for your butt, and then push-ups, planks, any of the weightlifting that you do, your bench presses, shoulder presses, lateral raises, all of that fall under your upper body moves. And then there's core exercises. And yeah, it can be done with equipment like barbells, dumbbells, resistant bands, etc. And then flexibility and endurance, like I said earlier, it can be an hour long in a week, but at least 15 minutes every day. If you cannot get an hour long of yoga in a week or Pilates in a week, you want to aim for 15 minutes every day. Ideally, every day is awesome, but like I said, cardio's, I would give more priority to cardio and strength, especially if you're in the weight loss or if there is a certain goal you're trying to achieve. And then build in flexibility and endurance once you've reached that goal. But right now, with all of us working from home and sitting on our chairs and almost glued, at least at workplaces, you're getting up to go get some water, getting up to go use the restroom. So you're walking a little more. Now with this lockdown and being home a lot more, you want to get off your chairs a little bit, stretch your shoulder, neck, core, that kind of stuff. It's going to impact you in the long run if you're going to continue with this lifestyle for 6-8 months, just sitting for the continuous 8 hours. Okay, so that is a very basic recommended schedule. And of course, you can see if you add up the days, you know for sure that it's more than 7 days. So that does not mean you don't overlap. So there should be like the high intensity interval training, like I mentioned in the cardio. You could couple that with some of your strength training moves and call it circuit training. That way you're getting a little bit of cardio, a little bit of strength. And if you're doing flexibility every day for 15 minutes, I always just advise my clients like Surya Namaskar. It's basic, at the same time, it's wholesome. It gets your entire body working and stretching. So 5 to 10 rounds of Surya Namaskars. I mean, start with 2 or 3 and then slowly build it in, but that will take care of your flexibility work. Upper body and lower body, maybe you want to have 2 separate days for strength training, but cardio can be every day. Like the days you're not doing strength training can be those intense basketball games or HIIT workouts or dancing workouts. And on the days that you've already done strength training, maybe you just add a 20-minute walk around your neighborhood, like a brisk walk. It still takes care of it. So it is going to be overlapped to get everything in. So how to make it work? So before I move into nutrition, I want to cover how we get in exercise in our schedules. So I think the biggest complaint I hear from people, I don't want to call it complaint, but the biggest excuse people want to give is lack of time. It's, I don't know, it's not as hard as it seems. It's about planning and giving it the priority. I want to say, if you give it the priority, you will find the time for it. So the way you want to do it is set time aside. So first of all, don't jump into it like, okay, Monday and I'm going to work out from this week, and then don't push yourself for all the 7 days of the week. How about you start by saying, I'm going to work out at least 2 days this coming week, and set the day aside. Which are the 2 days that you're planning to work out? Mark that in your calendar. And also plan the activity that you plan to do. Is it going to be running? Is it going to be walking? Is it going to be a strength workout? What? Write it down. Writing, journaling when it comes to exercise and nutrition is awesome. I mean, it makes you accountable. It keeps you pushing. It keeps you motivated because you've written it, or you've even shared it with a friend that I'm planning to do this, and I hope it ashames you if you don't do it. So definitely make time for it. Set it aside. Put it on your calendar. Decide on the activity in advance. Let people know so you're accountable. And then set a realistic goal. Like if you plan to run, don't start with running 3 miles. I mean, you want to set a goal of 1 mile to start with. So this week you do 1 mile, next week you do 1.25 or 1.5, and then build your way up to the 5K mark, the 3 mile or so on. So gradually getting there is very important as opposed to jumping right into it. And Apart from that, yeah, tagging along with friends, some company usually helps. So if you don't have a friend whose time matches, then joining group classes is great. Sleep well, hydrate well, and eat well. So don't start off with getting in exercise and nutrition in the same week, especially this is for starters. If you're used to this a little bit, you guys can bring it all in together. But if you're just starting for the first time, start with one of it. Start with either healthy eating, let it go on for a month or two, and then bring in exercise, or start with exercise, let it go on for a month or two, and then you bring in the healthy eating. So you want to sleep well, eat well, drink lots of water, because if something goes wrong, it kind of impacts your mood with exercise. You just kind of be like, oh, I didn't eat well, oh, I'm hungry, let me just keep this for some other day, and so on. And lastly, you don't want to feel guilty for missing exercise. Like I said in the beginning, that's why I wanted to explain my logo. It is a very positive thing. So don't attach negative emotions with it. Oh my God, I didn't do it. I'm good for nothing. Why didn't I get this done? Don't let it stress you out. It's okay. Just take your kids out on a stroller ride, and that can be a workout. You can hold on to the stroller rails and do some squats, maybe 20 squats, 20 lunges, and a quick round around the neighborhood. There's still something. Or if you're going to the park with your kids, use the monkey bars to do a few, monkey bar climbing, do a few squats there, lunges, just get movement in. That's the key. But that's how you get started, start feeling active, and then build on it. Okay. So now I'm going to move on to nutrition, the next aspect of physical well-being and health. So we hear this term diet quite a bit, especially in India. It's like if you see someone drinking soup, oh, are you dieting? That term is, over the last few years, has been so negative, at least to some people. I want to say diet in the fitness industry, at least, it really just means like what food are you eating? What diet are you following? What are you eating? That's all it means. So it's very basic. It's very normal. It may not sound like a positive term, but it's definitely not negative. So when it comes to food, in the basics, I want to say that there's macronutrients and micronutrients. Now, what is macro and micro? From the name, you can tell. Macro means large. It means you need in large quantities. So your carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and water, you need in larger quantities compared to your vitamins and minerals. So carbohydrates, you all know, it's the fuel for energy, for your movement, for your work, for your life, for everything. So you need carbohydrates for sure. You need proteins as well. They are your building blocks for cells. Fat, it protects your organs. It helps absorb the fat soluble vitamins, the A, D, and E, and K also, I think. But yeah, fat is for absorbing vitamins. Water is for transporting those nutrients all over your body into your bloodstream and where all it needs to go, and maintaining your body temperature. And water does that neutralizing effect. Micronutrients you need in minute quantities, but you need them. Very, very essential nutrients. They are for your immunity and repairing cell damage, that kind of stuff. And vitamins and minerals fall under that category. So all of us have learned this in our sciences, but what is happening these days is, in the pursuit of a certain body image or some particular short-term goals, we tend to neglect one or the other of the macro or micronutrients. And this being a health and fitness, and where we're talking about overall well-being, we need to understand that each and every nutrient is essential and in the right quantities, except for small tweaks that you make when you're trying to achieve a certain goal. It's okay to go down here and there. So very simple math here about calories. Calories in greater than calories out equal to weight gain. Now, calories out is the calories you burn. Calories in is the calories you put in your mouth. So simple. If you're eating more than you're burning, you're going to gain weight. If you keep it at equal, it's going to be a maintenance mode. And if you're going to take in lesser calories than you eat, it is weight loss. But not that simple, because sometimes your body is used to a certain amount of calories and it's going to hold on to all that stored fat. If you're just mindlessly cutting out calories and burning by maybe not even exercising, you're just not eating and starving yourself, assuming you'll lose weight. You will lose some weight. You will gain it all back, because your body, not gain it all back, but your body will be holding on to fat. So you're not going to lean up or tone if you're going to do that. So what's the biggest mistake in calories? We don't calculate most of the time, and we end up overestimating the calories we burn and underestimating the calories we intake. So Again, at the initial stages, it's not very important to count your macros or your micronutrients, but as you go along in the process, you definitely want to start measuring, and maybe for a month till you kind of are comfortable to eyeball the quantities of each macro that you need to be eating. But at some point in your life, based on your goals, you will want to calculate the macros that you're eating, especially the macros, I mean carb, protein, and fat. So there's a lot of diets out there, the traditional 6 small meal diet, intermittent fasting, keto diet, low carb, high protein, and there's probably more, but these are the ones I know of and I know have advantages. So I'm listing just those out. And everything has its good, has its bad. Again, it's up to you to figure out what your goal is and what is suiting you and your schedule with your family. Like I said, initially, nothing should bog you down. It should seamlessly fit into your routine. Maybe for a week you're struggling to find a foothold, but within a week's time, this should feel like I got control over this. If you're not feeling that, then it's not for you. So the traditional 6 small meals in a day is great for portion control and for controlling your cravings because you're eating every 2-3 hours. That's the greatest benefit of that diet. Intermittent fasting is great, picking up a lot of momentum these days because it's the easiest to follow. Just follow a window and eat whatever. It's not eat whatever really, but eat decent, and less calculating and less stress in figuring out what to eat. So that one, the advantage I must say is it curbs mindless snacking and eating without being hungry, because sometimes you're not hungry, you just need water, but you're just reaching out for food. So with intermittent fasting, that is taken care of because your window is done, it's your fasting window, you shouldn't be reaching out for food. So it helps with that. Keto diet is great for meat lovers and eaters. I know many vegetarians who followed it. It kind of gets boring because your palate is a little limited, but it's still, I think for meat lovers and meat eaters, it's amazing. There's so many options out there. They say that for keto, you want to have a physician's recommendation. Many people are doing it without it. I think it's great, but you really need to know, there should be some way of measuring if your body has really entered ketosis. If you haven't, you've only deprived yourself of carbs and you're overeating fats. So you need to know, I think there's an app or something to figure that out. I'm not sure. If somebody's interested, I can work on that or work on finding that out later. And then the last one, low carb and high protein. It's great to start quick weight loss and increase in lean muscle mass. Again, you need to know your sources of carb and protein really well here. And it might seem a little irritating in the beginning when you go low on carbs because your energy level drops a little bit. But again, in 1 week, if you start getting used to that and it feels good, then maybe it's for you. And if not, maybe it's not for you. So these are the few important and successful diets out there. So I have a sample diet chart, but it's not by any means like a sample that you sell outside, but it's more like what it should look like, and I'll just skim through this very quickly because it's very overall kind, and everybody will have different goals, and you need to kind of sit down with a nutritionist to carve out what's best for your family and for your body. But just a quick glance at what a healthy meal should look like, healthy day of meals should look like. So you want to start your day with water at any cost because all night your body has been in a fasting state, whether you're doing intermittent or not. You haven't eaten for at least 10 good hours. So you want to wake up and start with water. It balances your stomach's pH because your stomach is pretty acidic. So you want to start with alkaline stuff like apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, green tea, anything. Lemon juice, lemon juice in water, not your lemonade juice, which has sugar. But take the time to sip it. I know people are running through in the morning hours, and I don't blame anyone with kids and getting them ready for school and all of that. It is hard, but see if you can wake up 15 minutes earlier to enjoy your warm glass of water. Warm is great, just because, again, like I said, it's all dry and it just feels great in the morning. Take the time to sip, and like I said, 8 to 10 ounces maybe. That's like a cup this size filled with water. Okay, and then if you're a coffee or tea person, it's after this glass of water that you want to jump to that. If you're not, that's awesome. I might be biased. I'm not a tea coffee person, but it'll be great if you can quit on those, especially the ones with milk and sugar. If you're taking black, it's fine. So what should your breakfast look like? A healthy balance of protein and carbs. So it should be a mix of both. Our traditional Indian breakfasts, dosa, idli, upma, poha are great examples. Again, portion control. I should have had a bowl here, but I would say about this size of a bowl. I want to say, I can't number it with a gram or something. But so if it's idli, then say 3 idlis, and if it's a dosa, then 2 dosas. So upa and poha, you can equate to that. And if you're not into Indian breakfast and don't have the time for it, absolutely fine. You can go with 2 boiled eggs, 2, 3, with a whole grain toast, thin sliced, I say, because there's a lot of carbohydrates in your toasts, even the whole grain, obviously in the whole grain ones, they are heavy on carb. So if you're looking at some weight loss or something, you want to go on the thin sliced ones, they have a little lesser carbs. You can add avocado if you're vegetarian. You can do oat bowls, chia puddings, overnight stuff that you soak in almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk, regular milk, either way is fine. That's with breakfast. So if you are not a morning person and you wake up, shower and rush for work, it's okay. It's okay to skip breakfast, get your water in, but it's okay to skip breakfast. But see if you can carry a fruit or yogurt based snack or something that you can have at 10 a.m. if that's the time you generally want to eat something. So, and if your breakfast was good enough, especially like the dosa, sambar or idli and that kind of stuff, you really may not need any food at 10 a.m. It's probably just another glass, this big glass of water, 8 or 10 ounces. Or you can have a fruit. Fruit is always fine. For lunch, this has to be majority of your carbs because you're moving around in the day. You'd rather fill yourself up during the day when there's more movement. Again, if you're small portion eater, and if you cannot do soups and salads for dinner, then you can take a portion of your lunch and divide it for dinner. So say you're used to having 3 rotis and a big bowl of dal chawal, maybe you can save the dal chawal for dinner and have just the roti sabzi. If it's a sandwich, if it's the whole foot long sub, for example, just giving you a size, you can have half for lunch, half for dinner sort of. Okay, so here are some samples, lunches in the pictures, not pictured really well, but just to give you an idea, this is like my protein and fiber source coming from matki usal, which is a sprouted bean. This is some pulao, which has vegetables, and here's some paneer for protein. But it's not really the best meal. I'm just trying to give you an idea. If you're just starting, and then you won't crave that, you know, you're missing eating your pulao or your paneer or your thing. So you can go with this sizes, if you can see. And same here, there's a peas rice, and this is a bean salad. So there's chole in it, like your chickpea, boiled and cooked with cucumber, tomatoes, onions, mint, cilantro, sesame seeds, and some spices like your red chili and salt. And there's a cup of Greek yogurt buttermilk. So just beaten Greek yogurt with water, salt, and cumin powder, mint a little bit. So this is what a healthy, balanced lunch should look like. Here I'm okay going overboard with my carbohydrates because I'm moving around. Again, I'm talking if you're on the weight loss scheme. These are great lunches if you're on maintenance and if you just don't care about weight loss but want to eat healthy. These are great lunches. Okay, and if you're not, again, into Indian lunches, go ahead and have your sandwiches with whole grain bread, preferably. Whole grain is better because it fills you up more than your regular, like just whole wheat or something. Whole wheat is great, but whole grain, I mean like your barleys and millets, that kind of stuff. Okay, and then evening can be, so what I have in my picture is a protein shake. It has pumpkin seeds on the top. So that's one thing I want to talk about is seeds, your pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, what else? Sunflower seeds, and all your nuts, walnuts, almonds. They're great for evening snack because they're heavy. We don't think of them as heavy, but 1 spoon of seeds can fill you up like really crazy. So it's great in your evening snack on top of your yogurt bowls, on top of your smoothies, that kind of stuff. But this is a very important time of the day. So even emotionally, we're getting off of work. School is over, kids are home. So it kind of triggers the celebration mode in our head and we reach out for the snack, the tea and the biscuit. Just also culturally, Indians are used to having a great evening time when people come back from work and school and that kind of stuff. And here several things go wrong. You may have had a great lunch at work, a salad or whole grain sandwich or something, but you come back home and you ruin it all by having all those snacks, fried stuff and sweet stuff. So that's when I'm saying if you try and reach out for nuts, or even actually go for your dinner. So if you had your 3 roti, like I mentioned, 3 roti and sabzi at lunch, you can reach out for your dal rice at this time. And then you will be filled up enough that you don't need a full dinner at 8, 7 or 8, and you can have a bowl of soup or salad. Or you could have your soup or salad at this 5:30 p.m. Time, and then you can have your dal chawal at 7, 7:30. This is just giving you an example of how you can switch things around. So you don't really have to go for that tea, biscuit, snack, farsan, that kind of stuff. Okay, and if you finish off at 7, 7:30, you're automatically in the fasting mode because you probably will not eat till 7:30 next day, and then you've already fasted for 12 hours, which is again great. And if you're not the kind of person who can survive on soup, salads, vegetables, then like I said, make sure that you divide your lunch. You've eaten lesser at lunch. So personally, I do heavier in the lunch because I can survive beyond 4 and 5 p.m. I don't want to have any kind of carbs because my goal is to reach a certain number, not necessarily in the weight, but in the fat percentage or something. Okay, and another thing you could do is again have that big cup or glass of water because you are thirsty most likely and not hungry really. Okay, so now moving on to dinner. So based on what all you've done through the day, you can repair at dinner, not really fix everything, but you can make sure that, okay, I've had, so sometimes there's festivals at home, there's invites for lunch or meeting colleagues over lunch and you've eaten out at a restaurant, then you can definitely make sure that you have only vegetable portions for dinner. So here's some sample meals. There's chili paneer here, there's baked vegetables here with beans, with soybeans. Here's black-eyed peas with avocado, mint, cilantro, tomato, that kind of same like the bean salad I showed earlier. And here's some cheese and garlic with vegetables. So there's, again, recipes are endless. You can come up with any ideas, but you can just kind of tweak it to make sure that it's not heavy. Ideally, whether on weight loss or not, it's ideal to have lesser carbs as the day comes to an end. Okay, so 7 is a great time. I know we are sometimes out with kids' activities and that kind of stuff, but if you're eating late, then you want to definitely eat something at 5, 5:30, whenever you get that window to eat your carbs before the 7 p.m. and then keep the lighter stuff for after 7 p.m. So vegetables also have carbohydrates. So I'm not trying to say here that they're low on carbs, but they are the fiber. They have more fiber than the carb content. So vegetables are great wherever you can include them. So when I said earlier, you can split your lunch and dinner. So say you had 2 rotis for lunch, you could have a bowl of one of these that you see in the pictures here, also with your lunch. And then you can have your dal chawal and another bowl of this at dinner. So if you know what I mean, so you don't feel deprived that, oh, I'm just eating salad and going to bed. So yeah, have a bowl of dal chawal and salad at dinner. And the same thing in lunch, maybe with roti or sandwich or whatever. Okay, so sorry, yeah. So ways to make nutrition work. Now this is very important. I'm going to start off by giving a disclaimer that it's hard. It's really hard work. Cutting those vegetables is not fun. I don't enjoy doing it, especially with 2 little kids. I have to be cooking their meals, and my husband's not on board with me on this, so I have different meals for him. I have family over, like my in-laws are here, so I have different stuff. So there's a lot of cooking. I just want to say that it's going to be hard. But again, like I mentioned with exercise, you want to start one thing at a time. And that's how I train my clients on the nutrition program. We start with fixing the water habits and overall hydration over the first week. So I'm kind of checking that they're drinking that first big cup of water in the morning, in the mid-morning time, the 10, 11 a.m. Are they getting water between 2 and 5 p.m.? Are they getting water at 5 p.m. after coming back from work and at night? So first we fix water, then we fix the breakfast, then we fix the mid-morning snack. So over 4 or 5 weeks, we kind of fix every meal. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to fix every meal. And then we practice it over the next 6 weeks. So it takes about 12 weeks to get into a good nutrition habit, still with hard work. But the way you want to do it is, what are you cooking for your family that you can take aside for yourself? For example, you're definitely cutting onion and tomatoes for your gravies that you're cooking for your family. Just take a little portion of that for your baked veggies on the side. So you're still going to cut it. You're just going to cut it differently. So you're making, say, chickpeas or black-eyed beans or red kidney beans for your family. You want to take a portion of that is boiled and keep aside for you. You don't even have to do sauteing for your salad beans. They just go in the bowl. You've chopped your onion and tomato with everyone. You just put that in the bowl with your rajma, red kidney beans, throw in some cheese, throw in some salt, pepper, red chili, and that's it. Your salad bowl is ready. So it's about incorporating it with the family meal and not doing something separate for you. So you have to plan a little bit in advance. Like on a Saturday, you need to know what you plan for the family. And from that, what are the things that you can take aside for yourself for at least, when you're starting, at least 3 meals in the week, at least 3 meals in the week. And then you can build that up to 6 meals in the week, which would mean every day's dinner. And then you take that up to 12 weeks, which would mean lunch and dinner and so on. So here on this slide, I have inclusion versus elimination. Don't try to eliminate something from your diet at the beginning. You rather want to include something. Like I said with the 5 p.m. thing, don't come in from work and just straight say no to the tea. Say, I'll drink tea at 6 o'clock, but let me get my water first. Let me get my nuts first. And then if there's appetite for tea, I'll go for it. So try and replace it slowly. Maybe for the first week, you will still have the water and nuts at 5:30, at 6. And then at 6:30, you'll be like, I don't need my tea and biscuit or anything. Or you might just have your tea and you might not take the side stuff. So, you know, just kind of slowly build into the habits. Don't overwhelm yourself, because these are the ways you kind of make sustainable and consistent habits, as opposed to something like a quick fix and then kind of getting rid of it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So don't do that. And of course, listen to your body. It's very important with nutrition to understand allergies, what's causing irritation, what's causing trouble to your gut. If you're not, it's very important to make sure you're passing your bowel movements really well. Too much water shouldn't feel like a pain. Too much of fruit
Hey,
shouldn't
Richa.
feel like a pain. Yes, sorry.
We have a question.
Uh-huh.
It says how to control sugar cravings. That's from Hital Adia.
Okay. Uh, I think it's a little bit about discipline as well. And I think sugar cravings directly translates to a deficiency. I cannot tell the name directly. If anyone else knows, you can help me here. I think it's magnesium or manganese. So usually if you're not getting your fruit and vegetables, like I said in the beginning, those micronutrients, those are what lead to some deficiencies, and that translates to a craving. So I'm not saying you need to go get a test done, but you should kind of replace with a fruit, something sweet still, but a healthier sweet version, and see how that feels and take it from there. And some fruits like your watermelon, cantaloupes are really sweet. So I think they would take care of your sweet cravings. And it's also about what are the sweet cravings that you're reaching out for? Is it like real white sugar? Is it chocolate? So I think everything has a related deficiency, a mineral name especially. Can I move on? Okay, so I'll keep going. So like I said, again, so you want to include stuff first, and as it gets into your lifestyle, then you start eliminating your bad or unwanted habits. Let's not call them bad, maybe unwanted habits. So, and then moderation, very important to kind of moderate what you eat. Sometimes, like I said, we don't watch. It's okay to indulge once in a while and eat it guilt-free, but let's limit that to 1 time a week. And when we say 1 time, it should mean 1 meal in the week, not 1 whole day or 1 whole weekend. Sometimes what happens is it's the entire weekend that we're indulging and cheating and enjoying our fried food and oversized desserts. And that counts to about 6 to 8 meals. And that's almost a third of your week. So you want to watch out for that. Again, food is not our enemy, it's our fuel. So it's important to have a very positive relationship with food and to enjoy your social life. But again, you want to watch the portion, you want to watch how often you do that, and then make tweaks around that. Like I said earlier, it's hard work, but it is totally worth it once you've achieved it and have overcome that initial struggle of making it work for you and for your family. So moving on to mental health now. So in physical health, we covered exercise, we covered diet, and how a few tips on how to work. But again, in the question answer session, we'll talk more about it. But in mental health, it's very important to focus on some other aspects which also impact your physical health, like your good sleep, good mood, stress-free living, good work-life balance, a lot more. And then based on your personality, you can choose what you can do to make sure that these parameters are met. For example, if you're an extrovert, you want to call friends, have a good social life, go out for sports, go out for movies, anything that makes you feel good in what you're doing, makes you happy, that kind of stuff. And if you're an introvert, maybe reading books, painting, any activity that is your hobby, that is your passion, that calms you down, that makes you feel good, choose that, calm yourself. Yoga, meditation, exercise in general already help with mental health. So overall, what I wanted to say about, sorry, I want to move back up, is about mental health is, if any of this physical health, like if anything in life, even if it's work, it's stressing you out, it's not good for you. You probably will quit work and find a new job, or quit that city, find a new place to work in. If something's not going well in your relationships, any relationship, if it's toxic, you kind of leave that and move on. So it's just like that. Even with exercise or nutrition and eating, if it's stressing you out, if it's making things harder for you, take a break, reset, plan, come back to it in, in a step-by-step process. Don't overwhelm yourself. It's very important that all three pieces fit together. Otherwise you're not going to see, because lack of good mood, good sleep, increase in your stress levels is going to up your cortisol levels, and that is going to create a hindrance in your weight loss, fat loss, because all of that cortisol sits right in the midsection. Okay, so I'm going to just summarize in the end what is a well-rounded meaning of health. So beyond weight and BMI. So when we talk about exercise, we're always stuck on two numbers, maybe the weight and BMI. There's a lot more than that. So in your yearly annual checkups, you're going to look at your glucose levels, cholesterol, blood pressure. Those numbers should give you an indication of how you're doing overall. Apart from that, all these smartwatches and trackers that we have should give you an insight into resting heart rate, lean muscle mass, body fat percentage comes from some really in-depth body comp analysis at at a gym, or like the Live Well Center, where they have those special equipment. But those are the kind of parameters you want to change. You might not look ideal like the celebrities that you see on magazines or on TV, but if all of these parameters are in good numbers and in good ranges, you're still healthy. So that is something to feel good about. Same way with nutrition, there's something much more beyond carbs and proteins. You want to avoid deficiencies. You want to make sure that the relationship you have with your food is healthy. You look at your food and you want to actually eat it, not feel like, oh, why am I eating this again? You don't want to feel that. So and indulge indulge once in a while. There's no point looking at that piece of cake and crying, why can't I have it? No, it's okay, just go for it. And same way, there's stuff beyond exercise and nutrition as well. It's like having a zest for life, feeling energetic, active, ready to take on more activities, feeling of happiness and satisfaction, a feeling of content in life, like I'm at the best phase of my life, I got it all, kind of a feeling. So I think all of these parameters put together are the real well-rounded meaning of health. With that, I am done and I'm ready for questions. So these are just details for you guys to take if you want to reach out to me. I will go on mute if Kanu or Ankit want to say anything. You want me to stop sharing?
Richa, you can. That's okay. Yeah, you can stop sharing. I'll.
Okay.
I think, but I'd like you to stay, not go on mute. I think
Okay, yeah, sure.
you should be able to come off mute. Kanu, you're talking on mute so far.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. So thank you so much, Richa. That was actually a pretty comprehensive presentation, and I think the summary of that was in your last slide, where you said you should maintain a healthy relationship with food and perhaps even with your body. Because I think one thing all of us keep thinking, in fact, most people have this sort of a thought in the mind that fitness and health and nutrition are all only for people who either perhaps want to lose weight or perhaps want to gain weight or gain some muscle. But essentially it is, these are good goals to have, but, even people who don't have these goals should perhaps follow a very healthy lifestyle. And it's just actually meant to live a more fulfilling, a more healthy sort of life. So with that, let's move on to the questions. The first one we have is it okay to have pumpkin seeds and other seeds as part of breakfast?
Yes, sure. Yeah. It doesn't matter what time you have it. They're pretty filling. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And I think since you're talking about seeds, I think what some of us also do is, and which includes people like me, we kind of read quite a bit and we feel that, eating seeds and some of these other things is good for the body. So we sometimes tend to kind of consider these as magic foods and, try to, so we would indulge on one side and then probably on the other side.
sort of, eats to compensate.
Like we spoke earlier, even too much of good is not good. Everything needs to be in moderation, even your protein, your seeds, everything. Yeah.
Exactly. The next one is, what is the best diet and exercise for weight loss for hypothyroidism patients, one who actually gains weight?
Okay, technically, hypothyroid patients should get clearance and get a sample circuit from their, not circuit, but a sample idea from their physician. But from the exercise perspective, there's nothing that stops them from exercising. Everything they can do. Maybe in the weightlifting, they're going to lift a little lesser. Maybe in the cardio exercises, they're going to not push themselves to those extremely high heart rates, but they can still do everything at the comfortable level of their body's push. It's about how they build on it as they move on. But everything is allowed.
Okay, that's good to know. There is a question from Nilakshi. She says, what kind of food exercise do you suggest for good hair and skin? Any specific tips?
Did she say exercise?
Food and exercise both
Food, okay.
for hair and
So
skin.
again, those micronutrients is what takes care of that. Like your vitamin deficiencies, if you're not getting the right kind of minerals, is what will start showing up on your skin, on your nails, on your hair. So you want to make sure that you're getting all your vitamins. It's okay to have multivitamins, the ones that your physician might recommend. But I personally don't take multivitamins. I prefer to get it through my food, because vitamins also, like I mentioned, they're micronutrients. You only need them in a certain percentage. So there's a very high chance of going overdose on some of them. So you want to be careful. Like if you're really getting a wholesome diet with all your fruits, vegetables, whole grains, seeds for your omega-3s and everything, you may not need anything. But that's about monitoring and finding out. Like maybe you get everything in your diet first. Like I'm very confident that my diet has all the micro and macronutrients. So if you reach that stage and get a checkup done from your physician and know that you're not deficient in any of the major things, then you're fine. But till you get there, you can take help of multivitamins and move on.
Next question is from Indrani. She says, what's the best way to take apple cider vinegar in the morning?
Warm water with 1 spoon of apple cider vinegar to start with, and you can add a little bit of honey in it. So don't microwave or heat the apple cider vinegar and honey with it. Just heat your water, take it out, add a spoon of apple cider vinegar and a little bit of honey till you get used to the taste of apple cider vinegar. Again, it's not for everyone. It has a very pungent taste. So you want to start with half a spoon, then increase it to 1 spoon and maybe 2 spoons later.
So since you brought up honey, do you want to spend a little more time on, because I think there are a lot of misconceptions about honey. People, in fact, quite a bit of material. Some people say it can be a good replacement for sugar. There are other points of view saying it's perhaps as harmful as sugar, for lack of a better word.
It's not as harmful as sugar, number one. It's natural. So is jaggery, so is maple syrup. But it's also important, again, moderation. If you're going to have waffles and pancakes every day with a lot of maple syrup on it, it's still a lot of sweet. But if you're occasionally wanting to have that and would like to add a little bit of maple syrup, that's absolutely fine. Same way with your warm water. Water feels tasteless sometimes, especially in the morning. If you're forcing down that cup of water and you want to add that half a spoon of honey, it's great. See, all of these have their benefits as well. Honey is great for a lot of things. So it's okay to add that, but again, in moderation. But say you enjoy sugar and you're replacing sugar with honey, but you're adding honey in your gulab jamun, you're adding honey in your tea, you're adding honey it's going to be harmful. You know what I mean? So.
Sure. But I think we've heard that lemon and honey water together, they probably form a good potion, and
yes,
that's
it's
sort of
great.
pretty
It's
effective.
great for, yeah. It's great for immunity as well.
Great. The next question, I think you did answer that, but maybe you want to emphasize on those points again. Dikshita Sridhar says, sugar makes me happy. How to curb that craving? It's personally a great mood stabilizer for me.
If it makes you happy and you're having it 3 times a day, bring it down to 1 time a day. And then, like I said, like slowly and steadily. Again, what form of sugar are you talking about? If you're talking desserts, yes, you have to learn how to control it, and you have to figure out what is it that is causing that craving. It's usually a deficiency. And like I said, if you start with nuts, usually nuts replace that need, fruits replace that need. But if you're still not able to control, I guess you make peace with it and move on. If you can control yourself to that 1 piece of chocolate or that 1 piece of Kaju Katli or something. I know people who've had this for all life and have been healthy. It's again, if you've been able to moderate it and play with your mind that this is it.
And I think perhaps slow steps are pretty effective on that side as well, right? I mean, if we kind of take drastic steps to cut down on sugar immediately, it probably bounces
The craving
back.
only gets stronger when you take drastic steps. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it's okay to make peace with that one habit. If it's like, there are smokers who live 90 years. I'm not saying smoking is good, but they've figured that they cannot quit on it and they've decided to live with that habit. Yeah. It's again, willpower.
Sure. Next one is it Nancy is asking, is high protein and low carb diet okay for hypothyroidism, or we just have to control our portions?
So no diet is okay for anyone as such. Again, it depends on your goal, and you have to see what happens to your thyroid levels. I'm assuming you will keep getting your thyroid levels checked, especially if you change something you're doing. So if it's impacting your thyroid levels in a good way, then it's suiting you. If it's not, then you probably want to go back to traditional, but just watching your portions. There's people who've done intermittent fasting, being diabetic. So for diabetes, we've always been hearing eat every 2 hours, eat every 3 hours, but people have done intermittent fasting and reversed their diabetes. But I can't recommend that to everyone because everybody needs to check their sugar levels and see how their insulin is responding when they fast, when they keep their body in a fasted state. So it's when it comes to these specific cases like hypothyroidism or diabetic or hypertension, whether it's exercise or nutrition, you really have to try it out with a physician's advice because they will give you the right quantity of, okay, if you're going low carb, you probably want to just cut out on carbs in this meal, but maintain this high carb in this meal. So it really, a physician can define those levels for you. And then as you progress, if your levels start going down or at least maintained at the same level, then your physician can advise something more. There is no one size fits all when it comes to nutrition for sure.
Yeah, and I think especially for some of these typical health conditions, be it hypothyroidism or maybe blood pressure or some of these other things, I think it's good to stay connected with your physicians and perhaps follow things that
because
they are
you're on
actually
medication, it's kind of very scary to say what kind of meals will react with what. Like I mentioned, beans and everything. There are people who cannot take black beans, who cannot take chickpeas. Their bodies inflammation levels go high. So you have to be very careful. And I'm not saying that at this level, like especially if you're at a very basic and starting beginner level, you want to worry about those things, but you will see some signs that your body will give out and you'll be like, okay, this doesn't suit me.
Sure. One more question we have is from Janet. She says, would you recommend keto or low carb, high protein for gestational diabetes?
For gestational, most definitely low carb, high protein, because you have a baby growing inside of you, and not getting carbohydrates would be pretty dangerous.
So we don't have any more questions there, but maybe we can spend a few more minutes. I had a few questions. I'm sure these are generic questions that could resonate with people's thoughts as well. I think some of the things we've seen people doing on a regular basis are things like, let's say, counting the number of steps people are taking, right? So the first question is it really effective? And second is probably, if it is effective, in what ways, how to probably make it most effective? Because for a lot of us, like I said, we indulge and then we look at our Fitbits and those things and we say, I walked 5,000 steps today. Those probably just maybe walking to the washroom, going to the kitchen and all of that. I don't know if that's really effective. If yes, what is the way to make it most effective?
It is effective to kind of monitor your steps because, like I said, it counts towards movement as opposed to being stationary, having a step goal and moving every hour. Like if you see in the Apple Watch, there's a reminder also, like there's a walk every hour, at least for 10 minutes. So that helps. It kind of reminds you that I have to get that thing checked off on my Apple Watch. So you get up and you move. It is, and also, those goals that we have on Virgin Pulse, the 10,000 steps a day or 14,000 steps a day. It's not easy to get those steps. With me being home as a homemaker, I can see that on days that are my rest days, I'm not working out or not going for a walk also, I don't get anything more than 4,000 or 5,000 steps. And that's pretty sad. So I think monitoring the number of steps and intentionally trying to hit a certain goal, or 10,000 or 12,000, whatever is practical, maybe even 7,000, is really good, a good way to go up and down the stairs, get some movement. And I'm not saying this is a replacement for exercise. This is apart from exercise. You want to have that movement apart from exercise. That is
I think
only to
that's
show
the
that
key.
you're active the entire day.
Yeah, that's the key. This is in addition to the exercise and not a replacement, right?
Not a replacement, most definitely.
Yeah. And then you mentioned some of the timelines, right? That, let's say dinner by 7, or there are things that you mentioned on those lines. So how sacrosanct are those? I mean, is it kind of, can it vary with somebody's lifestyle? Let's say perhaps somebody wakes up at 10 and goes to bed by midnight, or, somebody else who would wake up at 6 and go to bed by, let's say, 10 o'clock, right? So can those timelines vary, or is it just that the body would probably stop digesting after 7 no matter what time you sleep?
So you can vary those based on your lifestyle, work life. Like my sister, she does a night shift job, so it's really not going to work for her. But there is still something called circadian rhythm. There's something called a body clock, and our body works in sync with sunrise, sunset, and how the digestion works, how our vitamin is absorbed, everything. So there's a reason why there's this typical timing of breakfast and lunch and dinner, because that's how it's been for a number of years. But what can we do? I mean, for all practical reasons, if your lifestyle is shifted a few hours, you want to do the best. I still, like, if you want to hear what I recommend to my sister, I still recommend that she eats breakfast like food before going to work, and then come back from work, which is 7 a.m., have like a lunch portion, and then move around for a couple hours, get ready for the next work day, and like then go to bed. So I still suggest like kind of in sync with a regular meal plan.
Got it.
Yeah.
But you're saying the timings can probably be adjusted a little bit depending on what the lifestyle looks like.
Right. And also the meals. So you can still make sure that the carbohydrate meal comes in the morning hours, and the vegetable or breakfast kind of meals come for the nighttime hours. Okay.
And then one last question. I know you spoke about discipline, and you spoke about taking shorter steps to getting to meeting your goals, and you also, in the beginning, you spoke about how important time management overall is. But then we all have those, few bad days, off days when, we seriously cannot find time. So what are those few good habits, a few shortcuts, so to say, that one must follow, that, even if I have 15 minutes during the day, here is what I could probably do in terms of fitness that would probably not make up for the loss, but at least keep me active.
Right. So like I mentioned earlier, like it depends what day of exercise you missed and what you're trying to get in on that really busy day. Typically strength workouts are longer because you have to get the heavier weights out. You have to have your right format in, right form of your body when you're doing those exercises. Those you don't want to hurry in with. But when it comes to cardio or flexibility, those can be done like tweaked to become shorter workouts. So say you have 15 minutes, and 15 minutes, a very slow pace runner can cover 1.5 miles of run, which is good workout. So if you've squeezed in only 15 minutes, just go for a sprint maybe. So there's this app called Tabata, which you can set a work timer and like a rest timer on it. So you can set it to have 20 seconds work, 10 seconds rest. And so you can run fast, not really sprint. Sprints are shorter than 20 seconds, but say you run really fast in those 20 seconds and then you completely recover and do a slow walk for 10 seconds. You can do that like 8 times. I think 8 times is 4 minutes. And you can do that like 2 cycles, that becomes 8 minutes. So that's still a workout. You've still burnt some calories. You've still got your heart rate up. Of course, you want to do this longer, but on that busy day, as opposed to feeling guilty, getting in something like this is much better than not doing anything. And like I said, squats, lunges, push-ups, your burpees, those are like the kind of exercises that are very, what do I say? I don't want to call them basic, but more like the ABCs of exercise. If you can get those in any form, like sometimes when I've had squat challenges for my clients, they've done it while cooking, when they're waiting for the sauteing to happen. They've done it in the shower. So it really doesn't need equipment or time away from your basic life as such. So if you you can just design like circuits on your own. Like I'm going to do 20. So I do these incremental circuits, 10 push-ups, 20 squats, 30, let's say high knees, and 40 skip ropes, for example. And you kind of rotate through this circuit. So you do 10 push-ups first, 20 squats, 30 whatever I said, and 40 that. And then next round you'll do 40 push-ups, 10 squats, and so on. So just rotate to that again. 15 minutes will be done. Okay, so it's like this, like just kind of put your favorites in. Okay, I got an upper body in, I didn't get lower body, so today I'm going to just do squats and lunges and some glute work like fire hydrants or donkey cakes, that kind of stuff. And then if you got some lower body work in, you say you've cycled around your neighborhood and you feel sore enough in your lower body, then just do a few push-ups, planks, that kind of stuff.
Great. And I think Tabata, the ones that you mentioned are pretty effective. I mean, not just the app, but Tabata workout itself in different flavors is pretty effective. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Great. I think that was a great workshop. We don't have any more questions, and we probably reached the end of our time.
I just saw something from Ankit about.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
Is there an app you recommend for keeping track of calories that one consumes?
Yeah, My Fitness Pal is pretty good with Indian diet. Healthify Me is also good, and I don't remember the names exactly, but there's a few for specifically Indian diets. But these two definitely, My Fitness Pal and Healthify Me. My Fitness Pal has grown immensely in the last few years. They have, like, you can even write thepla, like write Gujarati words, Marathi words. It pulls up the calories if you know your serving portion very well. So if you can weigh what you're eating at home on a weighing scale, kitchen weighing scale, and put in that perfectly, then you'll get the right accurate numbers on it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Richa.
Yes.
And just for everybody's awareness, this session will be recorded and put up on IAC's Facebook page, so we can kind of go back and listen to this again. And we all know Richa, we all know FitAmp, so we can definitely reach out to Richa for more questions and probably subscribe to FitAmp as well. And once again, this was the first of the first in the series of 3 workshops. Tomorrow is actually the workshop on photography. The day after is a Zumba workshop, and 15th August, Saturday, is the big one, is the cultural event on India's Independence Day, starting at 6:30. So please block your calendars for the next 3 evenings at 6:30 p.m. And thank you once again for making this an interactive and successful workshop. Thank you, Richa, once again, for such an informative session.
Yes, thank you.
See you all tomorrow.